right, Teams didn't open up for me. Okay, but I'll get to it.
Oh, please, yes. So then you can follow through. Please, yeah, do the Teams because we're showing the screen right now. All right, so let's get into it. Just real quick to kind of go over Microsoft Azure. A lot of you folks, are really, I think well versed inside of AWS. And what's very interesting is, 90% of the partners out there are very well versed in, a lot of other things, but not necessarily, Microsoft Azure. So, what I usually like to talk about is Microsoft is a very conservative organization, and they were slowly building out their infrastructure to be able to provide cloud services to different folks. But AWS has really became that 500-pound gorilla, and I think over the past year and a half, it's now it's a bare knuckle fight between both of those organizations, and I think a lot of things have changed. We're forced into the new cloud, cloud. Forcing to the cloud per se, right? And with that being said, a lot of companies are now looking at a dual cloud strategy. So having AWS is fine. However, Microsoft does provide a lot of different services in there. So 5 years ago, or 5.5 years ago, before I was at Microsoft, I was a partner too, and that's when Azure kind of came out, and I was in it. And at that time, there were literally like 3 things that they offered, and the main thing was infrastructure as a service. And I remember I got through it. I got through deploying my own virtual machine and actually, finally almost connecting via VPN to my my server. However, pulling out your hair. But back then, it was only 2 or 3 things. Today, there's 12 main things that you do, but underneath that, 12 services. Underneath that is 155 workloads inside of Microsoft Azure. It's just enormous, right? It's just, there's so much to do. And I think the reason behind that is Microsoft has been really good about making this open source, right? So there's a lot of people that are creating apps to help you do things quicker, faster, better, right? So with that being said, Microsoft also has more data centers than Amazon and Google combined ×2. They have over 168 data centers over about 40 different regions around the world. And they keep expanding, and they're on version 6 of the data center, where the data center is no longer a data center. It's really kind of interesting. The data center is actually just, it looks just like a truck bed, the container, right? So there's one, and then what happens is they have connections to bring in 6 different containers that link into it horizontally, almost kind of like a star method. And so whenever they need capacity, they literally take one of these container truck type of scenarios that have their own backup and the cooling and everything, and they literally just plug it in. I mean, it's just like a video card. They plug it in, and boom, they have it all there. All of your data gets replicated every 60 seconds around different data centers within a specific region to make sure that you don't have situations with loss, right? And with that being said, you can be really safe to know that your data is not going to be gone. However, one thing you got to be careful of is Azure and Microsoft will guarantee that data, right? If it's their fault, right? So if the data center got big earthquake and it just got swallowed, right? They will go ahead and they will actually, make sure that your data is back. But if your own virtual machine goes down by your own fault or a bad actor or something that comes in there, that's a problem. And so we're going to talk about that. We're going to talk today about security. We're talking about backups, backing up the virtual machine, not just backing up your disk, the virtual machine itself, right? And then creating resource groups and availability sets, different things that you want to think about. So that's what's going on. And so today, let's go ahead and get started inside of the environment. When you see this environment here, you see the actual portal. That's what I'm showing today. And I'm going to show you first, we're going to do a tour of the portal, how to set it up the best way, how Microsoft showed us how to do it. And then we'll kind of go from there. So for that being said, the first thing we want to just take a look at, top right-hand corner, is this is our user. Okay, so we can, when you sign in, normally you're going to have your own user. You can view account, you can switch the directory, or you can switch the actual person that you're you're using. So for my instance, I'm with the Crancer Group. That's my company. This is how I would get into mine. Okay, I know it's rudimentary. One other, but the next button we're going to look at is sending us feedback. I would basically just don't use this because I don't know if the feedback ever actually gets looked at. I think it goes into a black hole. So next one is the help function, which actually is really good. When you have a service outage or you see a service outage for anything, and another time there that happens. I mean, you saw AWS 2 years ago. Some engineer just forgot to hit a key. One key took everyone down on the West Coast, right? So help and support, you can go here, but you can also check some really cool things in here: diagnostics, keyboard shortcuts, launch guided tour, or find an Azure expert, however you guys are part of the Azure experts. So that's pretty good. Before I go to the next one, which is really important, the settings, I want to say that Paul McDonald actually mentioned here. Paul's the director of IT for the on family of businesses. My sales rep at Microwaves was nice enough to think of us presentation looking for a good 20,000 foot overview of the Azure environment. Thank you so much, Paul. I really do appreciate that. We thank you so much for coming. All right, so now I'm going to show you how to set this up. So we'll go to the settings. Okay, the first thing, and this is important, I would have you sign out after about 30 minutes if there's no activity. I would put this in just for security purposes. Okay. Second, if you go into, but hold on a minute. Now, if you have big workloads that you need to keep an eye on, maybe you're doing it for 2 hours, but always kind of, I would, suggest that you do have some sort of limit where it automatically signs you out. Now, here's the choose a default view. So right now, this is the home view or the dashboard view. Both have merits to have it. I typically like to have the home view. Okay. Next, and this is where I think it's really important. I want you to go ahead and click on, this says flyout for the portal menu. I want you to go ahead and click on docked. Okay. Good afternoon, Mark. Thank you for joining. If you have any questions, call the resource on how to get into we have Andres, I think, gave you the phone number to call him. All right, so then we have docked, and the reason why we're doing docked is, let me go to there, thank you. The reason why we have this docked is because this is, the portal menu is probably the most important menu to have at all times. We have several buttons that we are going to be accessing throughout this little lab: create a resource, home, dashboard, services, all resources, right? We have that. And that I always like to have that. Now, the next thing, this is the pro tip, is click on this is the view here, but I like a little bit more contrast. I like to have my portal menu in black, right? So then everything else is in white, kind of keeps me, feeling good. And then the last one is the enable pop-up notifications. So what this means, this actually goes along with the most important button on Azure, which is your notification button. Okay. So inside of here, every time we deploy a resource, we deploy a availability set, a resource group, any one of those, it's going to come here. It's going to tell us where it is in the deployment phase. And then when it's fully deployed, it gives you a notification it's fully deployed. And then it says, hey, go to that resource. Super important. I love this button. I always get a chance to take a look at what I'm doing. Next, over here, you have your directory and subscriptions. Now, many organizations, I think organizations that start off always have just one subscription. I would advise against that. I would have several different descriptions based on differential workloads, so that you can set different parameters per the workload, right? So different things per the workload. So you got to be a little careful with that. Okay. So this is where you can go, and then you can kind of go to the different subscriptions. So maybe you have one subscription for SQL, maybe you have one subscription, for your SQL instance, for your servers, or Linux-based servers. I think that's one thing a lot of people don't know is 52% of all Microsoft servers are Linux-based, which is kind of odd, right? You wouldn't think so. So that's the directory and subscription link. And the next one we're going to click on is Cloud Shell. I don't know if a lot of you have access or know about Cloud Shell. We're not going to go into it right now. We will be doing that later on. If you have a good understanding of it, that is fantastic. If you don't, you probably should learn PowerShell. Okay, just give me 1 second. Sorry about that. I had a ridiculously big yawn. All right, so Cloud Shell is actually really important. We're going to go ahead and exit out there. Now, the next thing I want to show you is actually the Cloud Shell. Okay, no, we got that. The next one I want to show you is the search menu. This is amazing, this search menu. I think it's extremely powerful, and I think you should be using this quite a bit. So, I'll show you why. So if I want to look at, like, what about availability sets, I can just go ahead and put in the first 3 words. And what it does here, I can click on this and go right to the service, and I can start it, right? However, there's this thing called the marketplace, and these are where people put in apps to help you with availability sets, right? And then on the bottom here, it has documentation. And I really like that because sometimes you need to figure out how to do this. And so what you're doing is you're actually going here and you can create and get some help. And then if you had resource groups, then you would, oh, hold on, I'm mute. Okay, then you would have them down here. Okay, great. So that is the search function. I would use that quite a bit. All right, so let's look at on the left-hand side, the portal menu. So create a resource is going to be your favorite button. This is the button you're going to be using quite a bit. And you're going to have to be creating resources through a multitude of services that we're doing or deploying. You'll need that. The home button is going to bring you back to here. This is your home because we didn't set it up as a dashboard. The dashboard button, I love it because in here, we can have multiple dashboards based on multiple subscriptions, right? Or multiple resource groups or availability sets. But in here, it's going to show us all of the resources that we have. So if we have several different virtual machines, it'll be in here, network security group, resource groups, availability sets, all will be right here, right? The next thing I like about it is we get into service health. Now, inside of service health, this is going to tell us what is the issue, right? That might be plaguing. Look at this, 165 workloads. So if you want to figure out if there's anything going on with Azure Databricks, excuse me, you can click on this and it'll show you. And as you can see here, in the nation's, it's all green dots, right? So that means everything is working just fine. So this is what that will do. And then you can go to the marketplace. And when you go to the marketplace, this is where you find apps, okay, in here. So you find apps. Actually, I'm going to go turn off pop-up notifications. 1 second. Oh, this is annoying. Okay, there we go. Turning off. Okay. So this is where you see the marketplace. Okay, this is the apps that are going to help you. Okay, so we'll go back to the dashboard. But what I really like about the dashboard is if you right-click over here in the blue area, you can edit it, and you can actually bring things over to. You just click and drag, right? And now I have my clock there. I want to have my user summary right there, right? Maybe I don't want quick start tutorials there. I'm going to bring it down there, because I want to have my users signups there, and I want to have my clock there. And then maybe we can have a resource graph table that's going to be coming up, and we can configure the tile. But this is where you set something up where now you can see it all the time, right? And it's easy. So then maybe this would be, and then you push done customizing, but maybe this would be, what you want to look at as soon as you log in every single day. Okay. All services, this is another button that we're going to be using today. And this is where we're going to be typing and finding specific searches, such as virtual machines or networking, or anything that's kind of in that tune. Let's see, all services, and then the other one is all resources. So this is great too. Later on in the day, we're going to be talking about that, and this is where we're going to have be able to find different things. All right, I'm going to go ahead and pause to see if we have any questions. All right, very good. So let's get started today. Let's go ahead. And well, the first thing that we want to do is we want to go ahead and click on create a resource. So I want you to go to your top left-hand corner, click on create a resource. And then what we're going to be doing is we're looking for networking. So we can scroll down, we can either click on networking, or we can actually type in networking, okay? Virtual network, and that's what we want to do. So let me go back here click on, let's see. We're going to click on virtual networks. Okay, now that we're now we're in virtual networks, the main thing is we want to do is we want to build a virtual network first. The very first thing you ever want to do is do this. So we're going to click on the add button, and you're going to see this page. Now, inside of this page, one of the things about Azure is really cool is that there's a wizard for this. So it always starts on the left and it goes all the way to the right. And inside of this, you know, it's the fundamental building block. I mean, I can read this to you verbatim, but it really is. And you know, this is what we want to do. So we want to make sure that we start with this. So the first thing you look at is make sure your Azure subscription says Azure Labs, right? The next thing you want to do is do a downward. This is called the downward chevron. Click on that, and then select the resource group that's already been made for you. So mine says AZVMRG 17934. Yours should say AZVMRG dash whatever your number is, your username and number is. So you got to remember that. And then instance details. Okay, we're going to actually give it a name, and we're going to give it Demo Lab VNet 1. Okay. Now, very important to note is your region. So regions can cost you a lot of money if you do the wrong one. So if you're located in the West Coast, please select West. For some reason you need it in the East, fine, but just be really careful here. All right, so let's go ahead and click on the next one, which is the IP addresses. Okay, so in here, you know, for this purposes, we're going to go ahead and delete that current one, and we're going to actually put in a separate IP address. And let me go ahead and type that in here. So let me 10.2.0.0/24. Okay. Interestingly enough, look at this. We have this little green check mark. That means good. We're in good shape. Okay. Now we need to add a subnet. We click on the subnet. And on the subnet, we're going to give it a name, right? So we're going to talk about Demo Lab Subnet. Subnet, there we go. And then we need to give it a subnet range. So 10.2.0.0/26. Boom. Now you see it comes with the green tab. So then all I want you to do is click on add. Great. Now we have the IP address. We have the subnet. We have named the subnet. Now we can go over to security. So we're in security, right? One of the things is you automatically get basic and disabled the firewall. Let's leave it correct there. However, what I want you to know is if you have a platform as a service type of situation, people come to your website a lot, you want to click on standard DDoS protection, which is basically advanced, right? And provides you more security. Okay, just want to give you that. But right now we're fine. Let's go ahead and go next to tags. Now tags, we're not going to actually touch today. However, I want you to know that they're really important, and I would suggest that you make sure that your tags relate to your resource group. Okay, because resource group is where we're going to keep everything. Okay, and make sure your tags, they're really great, really cool. Now, next, what I want you to do is review and create. Okay, and what's interesting, it says running final validation. So it basically helps you, right, to make sure that you did everything right, and then you go ahead and push create. It's interesting when I go over this notification window, look where it says submitting deployment. Now it says deployment in progress, and now it says deployment succeeded. And within this, you have the go to resource, and you also have pin to dashboard. So that's really good. We're going to go ahead and exit out of that. Now we have actually completed our very first scenario, which is building a virtual network. I'm going to go ahead and pause and see if we have any questions as to maybe why I did this or how I did this.
Sure.
Yeah.
Derek says that his lab closed on him, so I was wondering if maybe Derek, you could explain exactly what you see.
Oh, sure. Right now, it closed on me, and then when I tried to get back into it, it asked me to create a free account. and it went back into my personal Azure.
Yeah, so you need to sign out of your Azure, sign out of that Azure instance, and you
Okay.
sign in, you're going to use a different user and then put in the credentials.
Okay, I am signing out. Use another user. Okay. Sign in as another user. What am I signing in as?
If you go to your lab guide, remember we showed you this lab guide? You have your lab environment, and inside your lab environment, you have your details, and it shows you the username and the password.
Okay, I am in my lab environment, and I see they're using it. Oh, it's quite a.
Sherman, can you explain the turning on the virtual machine again? I think Michael is having that same problem.
No, he's getting this authentication error. Michael, go up to your the settings in the right-hand side, click on settings.
Yep, I'm there.
And where it says enable pop-up notifications, go ahead and turn that off, and it should stop setting you.
Okay, thanks.
Oh,
Yeah, that's super annoying, right?
There.
come on. This, trying to copy and paste this username is not cooperating.
Yeah, you have to type it in.
Oh, you're kidding. Okay.
Or you know what you could do is just go to your regular internet browser. Okay, open up a different internet browser and then type in azure.com and then log into the portal with these credentials, the ones that you had in your lab environment. That's how I'm doing it right now, and that's how I can copy and paste easy.
Oh, okay, so you said, okay, go to another browser, or I just get out of this one, out of this one. Holy moly. Okay. Okay, so you create a resource first, right?
Yes.
And the resource was a Windows 16 data center?
No, it was virtual network.
Okay, that's virtual network. Got it.
Okay.
Virtual network.
Now,
And then hit create.
no. Go to your lab guide that you have. Remember where you got your credentials? Go to your lab guide and go to the previous. It says scenario building a virtual network, and follow those instructions. And then when you catch up, let me know, because you have to create your own IP address and subnet. But this is what you should be following.
Okay. So, resources.
Create a resource, virtual network, select your subscription, give it a name.
Select subscription and then, okay.
Okay. All right. Yeah, it should just take you a few seconds. You should be okay.
Thank you.
Give it a new IP address and then review and create. After you give it the new IP addresses and subnet range, you can actually then just create. You don't have to go to security. Just go review and create. Any other questions? Okay. All right. So let's get into the next one here is creating an Azure availability set. So what we're going to do here now, okay, is we're going to go over to all services. This is the hamburger. Okay, so let's go to all services. And inside of that, we always want to make sure that we select all. Okay, so we have all in there. And then what we want to do is to type in availability set. So I just type in the first few letters and you're going to get availability sets. Okay. All right. So now that we're in availability sets, we're going to go ahead and add one, right? And then when we add it, we're going to get to another wizard. Okay. So this is kind of cool. And this one's really easy to do. So we have no problem. Inside of here, the next logical step is we want to make sure we know the subscription. We want to make sure we have the resource group. Okay, there we go. That's our resource group. Then we want to actually give it a name. Okay, we're going to give it Data Lab VSET 1. Can't give it a space. Okay, we want to make sure, okay, that our region is the same all the way across the board, no matter what. Then we need to make sure our fault domains, we'll leave them at 2 and at update domains at 5. Then we'll go to advanced. Nothing in here that we really care about. We'll go to tags. We're not going to do any right now. And then we basically go to review and create. And as you can see here, the validation is passed and we can go ahead and go create. So now it's creating. And now we actually are seeing the availability set. It's telling us we can click on the notifications. Says it's in progress. Oh, look, it's already complete. So we've actually just finished that one. That's super easy to do. So now let's go, or let me pause. Did anyone have any problems there or any questions about the availability set? Okay. Now, I'm sorry, was it Derek who was having trouble?
Yeah, I'm still having trouble. That's okay. Go on. It's just not cooperating for me, so that's okay. I've already created a virtual machine and a virtual network. But go on. I'll continue to watch.
Okay. And you know, we can help you offline too. I mean, there's yeah. I mean, we can help you after this too. So
Yeah, I don't hold up the group. Go on.
okay. We have this recorded too, so we'll give you a clean recording, so then you can follow it again after this. All right. So next that we have that in place, okay. Our next step is we wanted to deploy actual virtual machine. So we're going to go over to the hamburger bar again, and we're going to go ahead and actually you can click on compute here. So you click on compute. We're just going to click on virtual machines, and then when we click on virtual machines, we're going to go to add. Okay, and this is going to give us a more you know, robust wizard that's going to help validate what we're doing. So we have our subscription. We want to click on the resource group. Okay, we're going to give the virtual machine name a name. So we're going to name it DemoLab VM01. Okay, we're going to make sure it's US East. Okay, the availability options. This is very interesting. Make sure you click on this and then you click on the availability set. Okay, then you use the downward chevron and click on the one that we just created, Demo Lab VSET 1. Okay, or you can create new if you didn't do the last step, but this is how you're supposed to do it here. Now, what's also interesting in this situation is, you know, we have a lot of different Linux-based, right, software that you can actually, servers that you can put in there. But here's where, you know, for in this case, you're going to have all the server environments that you can do. This is just limited because of what we're doing now, but you have the SQL, you have all these different ones. So let's go ahead and click on Windows Server 2019. Okay, Azure Spot instance. This is interesting. You know, these are unused VMs, but they do not come with SLAs. So I would say, you know, you get a deep discount on them, but I would only use them for test dev type of stuff, but not in an actual real production environment. So we're going to say no there. And then we're going to tell you the most important part of Azure and deploying is basically selecting the right size for your deployment. So a lot of folks, this is where they mess up really big time. And they end up thinking, well, I need to get, you know, instead of a small size, I need to bring a medium or a large. They just don't know. And they click on it, they think fine. Next thing you know, they have a $2,000 bill, right? So we always start on small. We always think about whenever we're deploying any resources, it's proof of concept. That's what you do, proof of concept first. However, there are different reasons to have different types of CPUs. And so the way that Microsoft has them is basically designed in 7 different areas. Each area comes with a different cost, maybe even a higher cost. So if you want to do compute optimize or memory optimize or storage optimize or confidential compute, each one has a different cost. And you got to be really, really, really careful when you do this. So today, for this environment, we're actually going to go to D4S_V3, and we're doing that because we're going to get 4 CPUs, we're going to get 16 gigs of RAM, we got 8 data disks, 64 IOPS, temporary storage 32 gigs. Okay, so we're going to select that, push select. Okay, great. Now we're going to give it a username and a password. So I'm going to put in here demo user 1. Okay, and then I'm going to give it a password. And my password is, and you have to remember this. This is one of the most important things. Is going to be the super secret, super difficult to break password.1 exclamation point. Okay. So I do the same over here. And as long as it's matched up, great. These are credentials you're going to need use later. And if you get locked out of your Azure deployment, there's really no password reset on this. So it's super important to make sure that those are good. Now, be careful here. You want to put no public inbound ports for your first deployment. Okay, don't want to have that. And then here you can say if you already have a server license. If you do, there's this thing called the Azure Hybrid Benefit, which allows you to deploy the same server in the cloud and have a reduced Azure cost. So you can save it to like 49% for that. Next is disks. Okay, so we have disk options, premium SSD, encryption type, we'll leave as default, okay? Data disk, but now let's go ahead and click on advanced. And when we click on advanced, I think we want to use manage disk. We want to click on, okay, it's already toggled for that. So yes on that, okay? So we have that, and then we're going to go next to networking. Okay, so now in networking, do you notice that we already have this? This already came in, and that's why we always want to create our virtual network first. Okay, so that's in there. That's great. The subnet's going to land in there. It's going to be preloaded, right? And then it's going to give you a public IP address, and you want to make sure you see new located right here, new. Okay, so I'm going to create a new public IP address for you. And then this next value over here is the network security group. You want to make sure you click on advanced. Okay, because what this is going to do, instead of having to create one by yourself, this is going to create one for us. It's going to create a network security group that everything is going to be tagged to, right? And then also we're going to establish and connect an actual virtual machine backup to that network security group. Very important step. Okay, so we're going to create that. Super awesome. We're going to leave accelerated networking on, and then we can do load balancing here if we want. So we'll go next to management. Now in management, we're going to leave the defaults here. Okay, we always want to make sure it says new under diagnostic storage account, and we'll keep these Azure Active Directory. We're going to turn it off for now until you start getting this into production. Then we definitely will be turning it on. Click on advanced. A lot of different options. However, we're not going to touch any of those today. Go to tags. We're not touching them again, but you want to put tags in and then review and create. And as you can see right up here, it's going to say running final validation, validation passed, and then we're going to go ahead and push create. All right. So I'm going to go ahead and give it a pause. Okay. Paul McDonald says, odd, the availability set we just created is not available on the drop down for this virtual machine. Hansel, okay. Paul, did you get through that?
Well, you're pretty quick, and so I'm about 2 steps behind on the creating disks.
Hey, Sherm?
Yeah.
So that happened to me too. And what I did is I just clicked on new and then put in the availability set that the guidance gives you for the name, and it worked just fine. So I don't know what's going on there, but it's not picking up the availability set that you created before for some reason.
Well, it said that it was created, but it wasn't available in the drop
Right.
down. Apparently,
Right.
I just had to wait a little longer for it to deploy, and then it became available after trying again.
Oh, okay. Okay. Yeah, mine never did become available, so I had to create a new one from there. So, all right.
So thanks for telling me I'm going a little quick. I'm sorry. Sometimes I do. And this is the third one we did in the last 2 days. So I am kind of probably going quick, but I appreciate that. And anyone else, if I'm going too quick, please let me know. Okay, I'll slow down. All right. I'll actually wait, Paul, till you're through that. And if you want to share your screen, we can help punch you through. Okay.
I would share the screen, but the web browser version does not allow.
Oh, okay. You're on the web browser version. Okay. Yeah, you're right. It doesn't. Okay. Where are you at?
Creating the disk under advanced, trying to read the instructions here.
Okay. So under advanced,
Use
you just want to make
managed
says
Yes.
yes. Yeah. Then click on the networking.
Networking.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. It already has the VNet 1, right? Selected okay, perfect. And then make sure the demo lab subnet is the subnet. Okay. And the other thing too is when you're looking at this public IP address, make sure that says new. Okay.
None. Correct.
Okay. And then the NIC security group, that's the one that you want to click advanced.
Got it.
Okay. And then you want to configure a new one. So it's new. So it says demo lab VM1-NSG. Say new demo lab VM01-NSG.
So that's already in there.
Perfect. Yeah, just make it, okay, cool. Verify that accelerated networking is on. Okay.
Yeah.
Don't worry about management. Don't worry about advanced. Don't worry about tags. You can actually go straight to review and create.
Done.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, no problem. And sorry about going too fast. All right, so we are here now. What we're going to do here is now talk about backup and recovery. So let's go over to the hamburger all services menu. Okay. And then make sure, see, you remember when I put compute right here? Make sure you change this to all, okay? Because it'll only search what's inside of compute. And then on the very top, okay, you can type in recovery. And when you do that, or just recov, you'll see this thing called recovery services vaults. You want to go ahead and click on that. You're going to create a recovery services vault. Now that we're in the screen, it hasn't created yet. So what we want to do is push add. Click on add. And then the new wizard is going to come up. Okay. This one's very simple, this one. We just really want to make sure that we click on the resource group that we have. Okay. And then we're going to want to give it a name. And the name would be Demo Lab RSV. Give it a second. Now go to review and create. On that. I got to change headsets. I'll be right back. Okay, I'm back. All right. Can you hear me? Yeah. Good. Okay. Now that we've created the recovery services vault, what we want to do is enable virtual machine backup. So we're going to click on the all services right there. Okay. And then when we do that, we let's go actually all resources, excuse me. Click on the all resources. That's the little waffle. Okay. Now, when we're in here, okay, we want to select the virtual machine that we're working on. So the virtual machine is Demo Lab VM01. I want you to click on that one. Okay. And now when you click on this one, you're going to see a lot about your resources, right? Your subscription, your IP address. Okay, cool stuff, right? On the left-hand side, I want you to scroll down to under operations. There's a tag here that says backup. I'm going to go ahead and click on backup. And what we're doing is we're backing up the virtual machine. That's what we're doing, okay? We're actually backing up the actual virtual machine. So we're going to go select existing, okay, not create new, okay. All right, let's see, it's not coming up as select existing. I think it came in already as the, oh, okay, it's already there. It's going to create a resource group right here, okay, great. Okay. And then it's going to have a new daily policy. So when you get to this point and make sure that you have create new, then you go to enable backup. Okay, I'm going to pause here. And if you could just go to the chat window and say you're up to speed, I will then continue.
Looks like we're good to go, Sherm.
Awesome. Okay. Now that we have that, we've enabled the backup. Okay, so the next thing we want to do is virtual machine data disk. So we want to attach a data disk to our virtual machine. So now we're at the all resources button again. Go to all resources. I want you to click on the Demo Lab VM01 again. Okay. Now, same thing came up, right? We're in pretty much the same view. Now, on the left-hand side over here, I want you to connect or click on disks, okay? So this is where your disk is, okay? This is what we have, right? So as you can see here, this is the storage account, but let's go ahead and create a new data disk. We're gonna add a data disk. And within this data disk, it's gonna basically, it's not going to be very intuitive, okay? So this is like the one thing that's not intuitive here. What you do here is you give, under the name function, use a downward chevron, and you actually literally just create disk, okay? Then another tiny wizard comes up, and it's going to ask you to name the disk, okay? Cool. So see how you got that? And name the disk. Here's your resource group. Okay. And you can actually use this to change the size. We'll keep everything great. And then we'll go ahead and push a create button. Okay. So interestingly enough, if we go over to the networking side, it shows that it's validating. Look, it says successfully created a disk. I'll go ahead and pause and wait till you folks can type in that you're along the same area that I'm at. Okay, I'll assume that Bill and Michael are good. All right, so now that we've done that, great. So, you know, if we just go over here to the overview tab, I want to just show you something. Click on the overview tab. Whoa, wait a minute. Okay, the main thing is you want to make sure you push save here. If you don't push save, this doesn't work. Okay, so push save there. Now let's go ahead and click on the overview. Okay. When you get to overview, what I just want to show you is these are the names. This is where your subscription ID is going to be, your private IP address. This is where all that is. Okay, so you make sure you understand where that is. All right. So now we're still in Demo Lab V01. What we want to do is go down to settings and then actually go to networking. Okay. Now, what's interesting here is this is where it's going to show you the interface, right? And the public IP address. And this kind of just shows you the virtual network, right? And the subnet. Kind of gives you the idea as well as the port rules. We're going to change the port rules in a few minutes, but just not here. Okay. All right. Any questions? All right. Great. Okay. So now we completed scenario number 5. And now what we're going to do is actually getting to connect to the VM and install a web page if we have some time. Okay. So what we need to do next, the next logical step is we need to provide some inbound security rules so that Azure Cloud Shell can connect to the VM. Okay. So what we want to do is go back over to all resources. Okay, and then you want to select the Demo Lab VM1 or VM01 NSG, and that's for the network security group. And right here, this is where the rules are. Remember I said we're going to change something? So the next thing you click on the left-hand side, top is the inbound security rule. Okay, we want to actually create that. So we want to click on there. Okay. And then what we want to do is push add. Okay, so we're going to add the security rule. Now, one thing that's very interesting, okay, is that when you look at the security rule, the first GUI that comes up is actually the advanced page, and we don't want that. We want the basic page first. Okay, so the service is custom. We want to change the port rules to 80. Okay, and then we also want to give it a name. Okay, so this could be Demo Lab Rule. Okay, and then we push add. Oh wait, no. Before, or you can do that, but I always like to just quickly look over here to make sure that it's all the same. But you can go ahead and push add there. Great, we actually completed our creating a rule. I'm going to pause here. This is really important that you do that and let me know when that's done, because we're going to actually get into Cloud Shell. And I'm going to go find my resource group's name. Hold on, I'm going to need to change this. Best practice, I would say go into right next to all resources, resource groups. I would copy this resource group and put into a notepad or something, because you're going to need that here in just a little bit. Okay. All right. We're done.
I'm sorry, I hate to interrupt, but I have no idea where you're at. I'm still looking at Demo Lab. I am trying to do the networking blade.
No problem. No problem at all. No problem at all. Okay. So are you at the Demo Lab NSG, the network security crowd, to do the inbound security rule?
Demo Lab, VM1 networking, and then I'm looking at, I assume, the network interface.
Oh, no. Okay, so let me go back. So let's go back to all services. Okay. Oh, no, excuse me, all resources. Go to all resources. It's that waffle.
Yeah.
And click on this one right here. It says Demo Lab VM1 NSG, network security group, not the network interface, the security group.
Okay.
Okay. When you click that. Now, see over here on the left-hand side, there's inbound security rule.
Yes.
Click on that, okay? And then you want to go on the next one is click add.
Yeah.
And then do
Sources
you
any.
see? Yeah, so perfect. Keep that, but then change the destination port, okay, to 80. And then put, you have to give it a name, okay? And the name would be demo lab rule. And then
So
just
sources,
push.
sources any, source port ranges, asterisk, destination any, destination port ranges 8080.
No,
Just change it to 80. You said.
change it to 80. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. Name demo lab rule. Add. Okay.
Perfect. Okay. And then just push add.
I did.
Okay, awesome. So now you have that demo lab rule is right, should be right underneath. So
Got it.
cool. All right. So now let's go back over to all resources. Oh no, actually, now that you've done that, we're gonna actually go over to the Cloud Shell, top right-hand corner. And this is where you have to be really careful. So you click on the Cloud Shell, and then please click on Show Advanced Settings. Okay. All right. So I'm going to just wait. Are we all here now? I think we're good. Okay. So let's explain this a little bit. So you have subscription right there. You have your South Central, where the region is. You have the resource group that's pre-populated. Then you need to give it a name. Okay. And I think the name we're going to give it is, what name did we give it? Excuse me. And okay, this is what it is. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this 179434, and I'm going to put in the name is going to be Demo Lab Storage. Then my 179434. Okay, and then under the file share, I'm going to call it Demo Lab. And then what you're going to do is you're going to create storage. Okay. Is everybody here? Just tell me, let me know when you guys get to this point.
Paul and Michael got through.
Okay, awesome. Okay, cool. So it's actually provisioning. As you can see, it's authenticating to Azure. It's building our Azure drive. Okay, now when it says PS home ODL user, that's me, right? And so now what we're going to do is we actually need to use a command script, okay, to actually basically to help connect to the VM. So I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to copy the command script that's there. I'm going to post it into the chat window. Okay. Oops. Okay, chat window. Hold on. I'll post it in the chat window. Now, the resource group name, okay, I'm going to change it to what I just basically did, which was Demo Lab Storage. Oh, no, excuse me. No, the resource group name. I'm sorry. I'm here. I'll show you something. if you can go to the chat window, I'm going to go ahead and push enter. Okay. You see that code that I created, right, or I posted in there? The main difference that I changed is when it says resource group name, in here, I took our resource group, and this is what you can do. You just take this same one, but change this number, that 179434 number. I'll show you. Is the and no, I'm going back to the sharing screen. Okay. That 1743, that's my number that I used for my resource group name. Okay, so you should have the same thing. Your resource group name should be AZVMRG dash whatever that number is. Okay. Okay. So it should be exactly the same here. Okay, AZVM or AZV manager or MRG dash, and then whatever your script is. Okay. Then you're going to copy what I just put in there. You're going to copy that, and I'm going to go ahead and paste that right in here. And then I'm going to pray. Okay. Sometimes this doesn't like to work. Go ahead and get into this and oh, okay. Hey, Paul. Okay, Paul, did you get through this far?
I'm trying to type in the command. It was doing some weird ghosting where it was overwriting the other text. So just did a clear screen, and that's when the call dropped. So I'm just typing it in now.
Okay.
And of course, my copy and paste doesn't work. So
yeah, it's really annoying. All right. Super annoying. So while we're waiting for Paul, it's fine because we actually need to wait for all of us, because what's happening is it's going to go ahead and deploy that command. And as you can see here, it says starting 0.7 or 0.00 completed. And it's going to run the cycle. It usually takes, a few minutes.
Sherman, while we're waiting, is there anything in particular that stops it from not working, or is it just a hiccup?
So, it's the fat fingeritis that stops it from not working. Literally, if you let's say, for example, where it says demo lab VM1, that's all in all caps. If you had put that in underscore, right, or not underscore, but not caps, it wouldn't work. Okay. And earlier today, I didn't put in. I put in AZVRG dash, and it wouldn't work. Then you get all these errors, right?
Right.
It's so touchy. Oh, man. It's the bane of my existence, this Cloud Shell, man. But today it worked just fine. So now it's getting through its deal. But it will tell you right away. And what I don't like about PowerShell is that it tells you there's errors, but you might have no idea what actually that means, right? Because it tells you it's just these weird errors, right? Does that make sense?
Yeah, it tells you it tells you that there's an error, but it doesn't tell you where the error is.
Yeah. I mean, it is very vague. And then you're sitting there, and a lot of times I'm sitting there and I'm copying, right, that error, and I'm just Googling it. Like, what does this mean? What do you mean, man?
You need an error debugger.
Yeah, seriously, or just a translator. Hire somebody who knows PowerShell. All right, Paul, did you make it through?
yeah, it's sitting at this starting 0% completed.
Oh, cool. Okay, we're there. We just have to wait for a little bit. Okay, so the next thing that we're going to actually do, and let me put this script up again, and I'm going to put it in there. Okay, this is the script. This is our next script, okay? And this is where it says, you see where it says resource group name? That's where you're going to put in your resource group name, okay? So Okay. Let me go to. Okay. Okay, so when you get to this command where it says ps-home ODL user, you did it. Good job. All right. So now what I'm going to do here is I'm pasting the next command, invoke-az-vm command-name demolab vm01 resource group. That's where I changed it right here, script block, install Windows, blah, blah, blah. And then it says the credentials demo user. Okay, so this is where we're going to log into the machine. And then what we do is hopefully it all works again because I did it right. I'm going to press enter. Yes, it has worked. So this is what you're going to get when it says password. And it's the same password that we had. Remember password dot one dot exclamation point, exclamation point. All right. So I'm going to put that in there and let me hope it works again. Let me push enter. Yes, it's working. So now what that's doing is that's allowing us to actually connect the virtual machine after we've completed all of the steps, which is just so awesome. Paul, you're probably still typing invoke.az VM command, right?
Script block, bracket, yeah, install.
Yeah. Sorry.
So will there be a way for us to review this guide again? Like, is it going to be, is this just a on-screen guide, or can we actually download it and review it again?
Well, we're going to send you, and we shouldn't be doing this very much. And we're not going to probably do it after the next one, but we can email you the actual click-through document if you would like.
That would be great, so I can like take my time and go through it too.
Yeah, and this lab will be available for the next couple hours, so you can kind of stay in here if you want to play around. No problem, but yeah, we're happy to help. You know, the main thing is you gotta get the taste of it, but you know, also call MicroH, right?
Uh-huh.
And I mean, it all depends. If you're an end user customer, I'm sorry, who is it? Who am I speaking with? I apologize. From Blackpoint?
Yeah, this is Michael from Blackpoint.
Oh, okay. Yeah. So yeah, you wouldn't call, but you'd call yourself if you need help. Yeah. So yeah, you know, I can certainly help you. Just do me a favor. Tell Jeannie she owes me a call, and Chad.
I can do that.
I sent him an email. I haven't got anything back, and I'm helping you guys out again. They owe me a call. All right, we'll go to the next one. Okay, so now, oh wait, Paul, are you done?
I got a bunch of errors here, line 820, 8024. So I'm
Okay.
not sure if there was something mistyped.
Yes.
I mean,
So
everything
that
looks
really
good.
what it is, and the thing is, let's see. You know, probably a good idea is if you copy, you know what I put into the, oh, wait, you have the directions in front of you, don't you? The directions, the click.
Yeah, I'm
Okay.
looking for the
Okay.
lab guide at the same time. I'm typing it verbatim from there.
I bet you it is
It
just.
it prompted me for the password, and after I typed that, that's when I got all the errors.
Oh, for the password? Really?
After I typed in the password is when it prompted, yeah, the errors.
And did you put in the password .1 exclamation
sir.
point, exclamation point?
Yeah, I'll do it again. And so now it's asking for password for demo user, password, period.
Hey, Paul, did you
bang, bang.
type in resource group name, or did you type in your literal resource group name?
No, the AZ
Okay.
VMRG-179432.
Yeah.
And again, I got a bunch of, again, script error, line errors.
Oh, I hate that. Okay, let's see something. Maybe
Was that? It's AZVMGR, right? Not RG.
AZVMRG is my resource group name.
yeah.
Dash 179432.
Got it.
You know, but you already see the thing is, if it was having to do with that invoke command, you would have gotten an error after you clicked that, right? The only thing is maybe under in that invoke command at the very end, did you type in demo user, or because this is what happened to me yesterday. I ended up I fat fingered it. I put in dem user. It was just literally a zero, you know, like an O, right? But that would cause a problem, you know, right away, as opposed to if it got you to the password, heck.
Yeah, it
can you
got me
just
to the
check your
password, and then it happened. Well, yeah, I mean, I've checked it 3 times now. I mean, unless demo lab VM1 is case sensitive or something, and I got a different title case or something.
No, it should be in all caps, right? Demo lab VM01.
That's how I typed it in the PowerShell, but
Okay, so you know sometimes, so PowerShell, and that, remember when I was mentioning it's the bane of my existence, right? It's interesting. It's just kind of, it seems sometimes temperamental, I guess. And normally when you don't have any errors, it goes through. But I've noticed a few times, just like remember when we had that resource group that didn't populate in time, that in these RDP environments, maybe it doesn't really get provisioned correctly, right? Or something's amiss. So I bet you if you came back in 20 minutes and put it in the password, it might even work. So
right.
you know, it's just a little persnickety. However, I think we're still going to be okay. So why don't we do this? We're going to close the PowerShell. Okay, we're going to close the PowerShell on your side. Close it. Okay. Then what I'd like you to do is click on your virtual machine, which is Demo Lab VM01. Click on that. Okay. And then when you're in your virtual machine, I want you to click on the connect button, which is under settings, connect, or on the top. Okay. Sometimes they ask us to use the public IP address, but I'm going to show you why we want to use connect. You do connect, and then you select RDP. Okay. And then you download the RDP file. Okay. Oh, there you go. Didn't click on it. Download the RDP. This is the thing I'm going to get. I'm going to push connect. And then it's going to ask me for the password, right? So password. Okay. This is what I'm getting now. Paul, are you this far?
Yeah, I got access denied.
Okay. So that's just because of the PowerShell script. That's the little issue, but let me just show you what you should be seeing here. And apology that I think it's the RDP. Oh, look at that. Because it's the wrong account. Okay, different account, username. Okay, 1 second. Here. Not working. Anybody else get through?
Working on it.
Oh, come on now. This is ridiculous. Why is this doing this today?
was curious. I used the test your connection down there, tested the RDP service, and then it said an unknown error occurred.
You did this right here, test the connection.
Yeah. I was curious, so. I changed the service to RDP and then just test, and you got an unknown error. So I don't know.
I wonder if it's port 80. Okay, so there's another way we can do this. Okay, go to overview. I think we can click on the public IP address, actually copy it and put that into a new window. See if that'll help. That'll work. Ha! I'm in. Okay, so this is the, oh, hold on, wait a minute. So this is the Windows server. Okay, this is the IP address that was associated with your organization, but you want to connect to it, and we want to actually connect to the freaking to the actual RDP so we can get into our server. So let's go to, oh, I don't want to go to the demo. I want to download VM1. Let's go ahead and connect again, RDP. Okay, let's try this again. Okay, this is where I'm at. I'm gonna connect. So this is what's happening here. There's an authentication error. It's going to the wrong account. But, oh gosh, what's going on here? Hold on. Okay. I apologize. I do have a, I think that there's something going on with, because on the connection, it's just not working, right? As you can see, the unknown error. I think there's an, but the process that
Jason
you,
got his working, Sherm.
oh, he did, Jason. Oh, cool. Jason, actually, can you share your desktop and actually get into your server environment? Well, you went even further, Jason. You actually deployed a web page. That was awesome. Okay. Jason, could you unmute? Love to hear your thoughts.
It took me a while to figure out how to unmute this and get this stuff working.
Thanks so much,
Can
brother.
everyone hear me?
Yeah, yeah. We can all hear you.
Yeah, it's the first time I ever played with Azure. Our company migrated Office 365 earlier, but I wasn't really a part of that. So to actually get hands-on and touch things is pretty cool.
Well, thank you. So we only see your black screen. We don't see the actual Azure environment, or maybe it's a different screen.
Let me see. Share. How about now?
Okay, we still a black screen. Does everybody else see a black screen? I see a black screen.
Yeah, it's just blank.
Thought I had it figured out.
Yeah, when you hit the share button, right, you're going to just click on whatever desktop view. So how many desktops do you have? Do you have one or two?
I have 3 screens. I just tried sharing another one, but I got a feeling
Cool.
it's. Oh,
I see
you see
that
something?
one. I see that one. Yeah.
We're seeing
Okay.
our remote screen.
Yeah, that's my RDP screen. And we can just browse to the web page.
Well, so that's so yeah. What you did is one step further. If you go down in that lab guide, right, it basically says, okay, now after you connect to the VM, then actually create your own web page, and it's kind of 2 steps further. I typically don't go through that, but Jason, great job, brother, did that. But if you can minimize that one, when we connect to the VM, no, share that again. Because I wanted to show the
Okay.
the RDP.
Okay.
Yeah, minimize the web page. Yeah, just so that you see the background. So this is what you're going to get, that RDP link, right? And then what happens is right away you get prompted to go into manage your server, right? So then you can actually manage the Windows data center, right? And kind of like deploy it. So thank you very much. Really do appreciate you, showing us this. This is awesome. And it's unfortunate because it's typically about 60% or 50% of the class can get this far just because there's some errors in the RDP piece.
Mhm.
But thank you very much. So
No problem.
really do appreciate it. Yeah, this is awesome. Cool. And what company are you from, Jason?
I work for Bowling Groover. I'm a network guy.
Oh,
And,
okay, great.
And my boss sent out a invite to pretty much the whole IT team to check this out. And I was like,
Okay.
I'll check it out. I don't know much about it. Let me just play around with it. And yeah, nobody else from my company joined, which is a shame. Some of the guys who are going to start managing Azure soon, I wish they would have joined, but they didn't have time.
Okay. Well, no problem. We actually have a really good playlist that actually shows from soup to nuts, and we break it up for you guys based on the 5 or the 6 different scenarios. Okay, so you can go into each scenario and then review it video-wise, and then special dispensation for because you came through MicroAge is we will send you the actual click-through lab document, and then you can give it to your folks. But just do us a favor. If you buy any Azure licensing, you go through MicroAge. Okay.
I think, who did I get the invite through? It wasn't through MicroAge. It was through, where's it at? I want to say it was Eventbrite or something like that.
Oh, you got through Eventbrite.
Yes.
Okay, so that's even more awesome because that was a public, so somebody must have found it and then came through us. So, we're when you guys are at that point of buying licensing, let us know. I'll put my email in there for you, and then we'll help you out. But one of the main things that we always want to suggest with any environment, it's always a POC. We start small, right? And then we build. We never want to right size anything. Even if you're migrating servers, we just want to start with maybe 1, okay, and buy enough resources. But that's every environment is so different, right? And we don't know what's in there, what the workloads are going to be. So we want to test first. So I'll put my email address in the chat window, and then you can just let us know, and we can help you. cgroup at microage.com. Okay, very good. Perfect. Okay. Well, hey, thank you so much. So that really kind of concludes, what we're actually going over. I think the last one, I'll go ahead and share my screen. Actually, no, let me show you one more thing. So I'm going to go over to my screen again. I'm going to go screen. Let's see. I have 4 screens, so it's kind of, there we go. I think wait, screen 3. Okay, perfect. So can you guys see my screen here, everyone? Yep. Okay, cool. So what I want to do here is I'm going to go back over to all services, and I'm going to just show you something. So you don't have to do this yourself, but it's called Monitor, Azure Monitor. Really cool feature in here, and it can do different things. So we can visualize the metrics. So if we click on this button on the metrics, it basically wants us to select a scope to actually view. So what we want to do is select our VM1, right? We want to apply that. So we want to kind of take a look at the VM, and then we go down to see how you have all these different metrics you can go after or look at. I typically just say, what is the percentage CPU? Okay, so I can look in here, what is that CPU being used? And if I was if I was deploying the actual server and I was getting into that and doing resources, you're going to see a lot more, metrics happening, right? You can see different CPU usages here, but really neat thing to be able to monitor. And you can do a lot of different things. You can drill down into logs and do line charts and just really, really awesome stuff in there. And then you can also set up alerts and actions. This is actually pretty cool too, because you want to make sure that you're careful with what's going on inside of your environment. And then the last thing I'm going to show you is when you scroll down here on the left-hand side, there's this thing called cost management. Now, this is so important, okay, to understand. And this is why our guidance, whenever you're building out your Azure environment, you want to have different subscriptions based on the different workloads. Some people say, oh, no, I want to have one subscription on everything. I don't know. I think you have different subscriptions because you can really manage costs, especially if you have like a SQL environment, right, that you're crunching a lot of data, right? You're crunching it a lot. And then in that situation, you want to be able to set some limits, right? So in here, you can monitor with budgets. We can analyze the cloud costs, and then we can, put some stuff, some settings. And that's what I do with my environments. I always have, caps. And then there's alerts, right? There's like, hey, you're at 50% utilization. Hey, you're at 75% utilization. Kind of like that. So anyways, that's really Azure Monitor. And what we went over today is resource groups, virtual networks, availability sets, backup, Cloud Shell, Monitor. And last thing is, Andres, do we have Jason's emails? So what we want to do is email everybody the actual click-through. I think Andres is still on.
Let me see. Let me double check. Sorry, I was on mute. If I have it. Jason. Is it Pierotti? Is that his last name? From Groover?
Yeah.
Okay.
J Perotti 01.
Gotcha.
Yep.
Yeah,
Awesome.
I got it.
Okay, cool. Well, hey guys, thank you so much today, for your time. I really do appreciate it. We're here to help. Oh, my camera's not working today. It's a little, let's see. Well, you're going to see the data center. Anyway, oh, there we go. Thanks so much, guys. Really do appreciate it. Hey, thank you for your time today. We look forward to helping you out. What we do, we have some Teams trainings that are coming up for MicroAge, as well as that we put those on for companies. So if you'd like to get into the Teams trainings, those are awesome. And you go from knowing about 3% of Teams and knowing about 80%. And how to really work it and really make it work. Plus, we also show you how to reduce your email by about 70%. So with that being said, thank you again. Have a great day. Stay safe. Hopefully you're able to get something out of this. All right. Have a great day. Bye-bye.
Thanks, Sherman.
Stop the recording.